Alright, so today we're going to be making a little panel to hide these cables here because they are very much an eyesore to me. So basically we're going to make a channel that we're going to 3D print, and we'll be making it in Tinkercad. So we're going to go ahead and get out our calipers. We're going to take some measurements here. Now, not only do I want to measure the minimum width that I'm going to be able to fit these cables into, I want to add a little bit of extra room in there in case I need to wire up another cable or two. And then we're going to put some screw holes down here at the bottom where you can't really see them at the base of the mantle here. So we'll grab these measurements. So this is going to be a super simple design. That's one of the reasons I'm using Tinkercad. There's really not much to it. It's going to be a flat part with two flanges and then I think a couple of screw holes just so I don't have to glue it to my wall. So should be pretty simple. I think based on our measurement size that 35 millimeters will do for the width. And I just changed the height, 35. And then we also need to measure the height value. Now my calipers aren't long enough to do that, so I had to do it with a tape measure and convert it from inches to millimeters. And as you can see with my 9.5 inches, I got 241.3 millimeters. I do have a printer big enough to do this. That is slightly larger than most of my Ender 3 size printers. We're going to be printing this on the Artillery Genius, and it maxes out at about 235. And since we need a little bit of room for the actual cables to come out of the top and the bottom, we're just going to go ahead and use a value of 225 to keep it below that 230 mark. So let's grab this guy and kind of recenter that. Alright, so the next step, because we're going to hollow this out, is to copy this. So Control C, Control V, and we're going to line it up. Should snap right into place. And then take the size down to 20. That'll give us 2.5. That's the location. Okay. There we go. We want this one right here. Take that down to 30. That'll give us 2.5 mil on each side, and then the height we will take down to 17.5, giving us 2.5 mil on the bottom. So now we need to line these up with the top in the middle here, and I have snap to 1. Let's snap to 0.5 to get it exact right there, and right there. Okay, so now we have our two models. We're going to make this one a hole and then join the two of them, and here we have our super simple practical print. Now it doesn't seem like it went out the end here, so let's ungroup those just for the sake of redundancy and making sure we have everything. We need to click on this hole, and it doesn't really matter if we have an exact length on this because as long as it comes out the end, it's long enough. So let's, there we go. Then we will grab them both and join them. There we go. This is basically the shape that we're going for. It's a nice channel, and it should work pretty well. Although, in order to actually mount it to the wall, we are going to need some sort of screw hole. So I believe one end of this will be the top here. So let's simply add a couple of slots here. That's a bad position. There we go. And make sure it's not sticking into our channel. It's not. We'll take this cylinder. We're going to make this guy about 4 by 4. And we are going to resituate it. So let's use the shift button, right drag to place that where I want there. So, excuse me, to pan the camera around. Let's drag. Whoops, I just want the one item. Okay, there we go. 4, tab 4, enter. Okay, now we can take this. And kind of locate it in the middle here. Take this guy, downsize it quite a bit. We're going to connect that with the hole, and we are going to Control-C, Control-V. Go into top view. And make sure that that is lined up. And in the model. So there we go. Still got enough room to screw that screw down, and it's not sticking through the bottom, so looks like we're about right there. Okay, so not exact, not perfect. I could have just made this symmetrical by using the mirror button, but let's go ahead and join these guys. And then cable channel. Nope, come on. Okay. Cable channel. There we go. Alright, so now we are going to save this file. We'll export an STL and we will open it up in Cura and get it printing. Alright, so here is our model. Drag and drop. We'll arrange it on the build plate here and we will get ready to print. Next time you see it, I will be adjusting it for fit on the wall. Now obviously I'm printing this in a blue filament from 3D Solutech because it's what's on my printer, but we will be needing to paint it white. And here's our model. We got to do some reorientation here. Let's lay that on the build plate. We'll support those two tabs. Let's get rotated onto the plate here. Looks like that'll work. Give it a little shift. And there we have it. Now, as I said, this is going to be printed in blue. We are going to be painting it white. Let's make sure we have support, tree support everywhere. Okay. Should be a pretty quick model. Let me double check my adhesion settings because I don't want to take the time for a raft. Let's call it a skirt. Slice. Alright, I get my handy dandy SD card out while that guy's slicing. I'm going to add a little adhesive to my build plate just because this is a super flat object. It does have some corners that I don't want to lift. You generally don't have lifting issues with PLA, but better safe than sorry, so a little bit of glue stick goes a long way. Let's go ahead, we'll save this, make sure I save it to the right. Save to removable. Alright, so the next time you see this object, I'll be pulling it off the printer and we'll be getting ready for print before we, or excuse me, for paint before we go and actually mount it. Of course, in between those two steps, I'm going to test it and make sure that it fits properly and everything is on point. So jumping right to the printer now, and here you see it in all its glory. It actually worked out really well. It did require 3 coats of the same paint that I used on the wall, but it is exactly the same color. It hides the cables and it blends pretty nicely. Stick around, guys. I got another YouTube recommended video for you right here. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Make sure that you smash that like button. We'll see you in the next one. Technivorous out.